Hello there, and welcome to the Quiet Commodity channel. I'm so glad you found your way here. Maybe you've been searching for something to ease your mind at the end of a long day, or maybe you're the kind of person who finds comfort not in silence, but in the soft rhythm of gentle facts and warm stories. Either way, tonight's journey is for you. You have nothing to do but rest. Let your shoulders drop, your breathing deepen, and your thoughts slow like flour falling through a sieve. Because tonight we aren't simply learning about bread, we're drifting through golden fields of wheat. Through the quiet work of grinding and kneading, through the chemistry of yeast and the alchemy of fire, through the oldest food humanity has ever known. Some of what you hear tonight may surprise you, or at the very least, spark some gentle curiosity as you drift toward sleep. And just before we begin, if these calm, curious explorations help you unwind, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now let's begin. Wheat is stored sunlight. Every grain of wheat is a small battery of energy captured from the sun during long summer days and locked inside a tiny seed. Through photosynthesis, the wheat plant drinks light, pulls carbon from the air, and weaves it into starches. When you eat bread, you are consuming that sunlight, transformed and stored, released again as warmth inside your body. It is summer's abundance, preserved through winter, golden and waiting. The Natufians baked the first bread. In 2017, archaeologists in Jordan discovered crumbs of flatbread in a stone fireplace dating back 14,500 years. This was built by the Natufians, a tribe of hunter-gatherers. This discovery proved that humans were baking bread thousands of years before we invented farming. We did not plant grain to make bread. We learned to plant grain because we loved the bread we had already found. The word Lord means loaf guardian. The English word Lord traces its roots back to the Old English term Layford. This literally translates to guardian of the loaf. In ancient times, the leader of the community was defined by his ability to protect the grain and distribute the bread. Language remembers this history, connecting power directly to the humble act of feeding others. Companion means bread sharer. The word comes from the Latin com panis, literally meaning with bread. To share bread with someone is to form a bond, to acknowledge them as part of your circle. Throughout history, across cultures, bread has been the food of connection. Breaking bread together is not merely eating. It is an act of trust, of hospitality, of kinship. Wheat fields whisper in the wind. Before harvest, when the grain is tall and ripe, the wind moves through it in waves, like water across the surface of a golden sea. The stalks brush against each other, creating a soft rustling sound, a murmur that farmers have listened to for millennia. It is the sound of abundance, of patience rewarded, of summer reaching its fullness. Standing at the edge of a wheat field, you can hear the earth exhaling. Ancient Egyptians paid in bread. Over 4,000 years ago, bread was so central to Egyptian life that workers were often paid in loaves rather than money. Tombs were stocked with bread for the afterlife. Hieroglyphs depict bakers kneading dough and tending wood-fired ovens. They even had a specific recipe for a sweet bread soaked in honey to offer to the gods, perhaps the very first ancestor of the cake. Yeast is a living ingredient. When you mix flour, water, and yeast, you are not simply combining substances, you are waking something up. Yeast consists of millions of microscopic fungi, dormant until moisture and warmth revive them. They consume sugars in the flour and exhale carbon dioxide, creating bubbles that lift the dough. Fermentation is slow, patient alchemy, a quiet partnership between human intention and microbial life. Sourdough was an accident. The discovery of leavened bread likely happened in Egypt around 1500 BC. A baker likely mixed a dough and got distracted, leaving it out in the warm sun. Wild yeast spores from the air settled on the dough, causing it to rise. Instead of throwing it away, they baked it, discovering a lighter, softer loaf. It was a happy accident that changed cuisine forever. Kneading dough is meditative. The rhythmic motion of pressing, folding, and turning dough has a calming effect. Your hands work in steady repetition, feeling the texture change from shaggy and rough to smooth and elastic. Kneading develops gluten, the protein network that gives bread its structure. But it also develops patience in the baker. There is no rushing this process. The dough will tell you when it is ready. Emmer and spelt are ancient grains. Long before modern wheat varieties were cultivated, early farmers in the Fertile Crescent grew grains like emmer, einkorn, and barley. These ancient wheats have harder hulls and deeper, nuttier flavors. They were the foundation of the agricultural revolution. Though less common today, they taste of history, of stone mills and wood smoke. Milling is the sound of civilization. For thousands of years, the grinding of grain between stones was the most familiar sound in the world. Millstones turned by water or wind, crushing wheat kernels into flour. The low, rhythmic rumble of the mill was the heartbeat of the village. Flour was wealth. Mills were gathering places. The dust hung in the air, golden and fine, coating everything in the soft residue of abundance. White flour was once a luxury. For most of history, white flour was expensive and rare, reserved for the wealthy. The refining process required extra labor to sift out the bran. Peasants ate dark, coarse bread made from whole grains. White bread became a status symbol. Today, the opposite is true. Whole grain is valued for its nutrition, while white flour is commonplace. Status reversed, but bread remains. The bran is the seed's armor. Wheat kernels are encased in a tough outer layer called bran, which protects the seed from weather and decay. When grain is milled into whole wheat flour, the bran is included, giving the flour a darker color and earthy flavor. White flour has the bran removed. The bran is fiber, refuge, the part that reminds us bread was once a seed meant to grow in the wild. The germ is the life force. At the heart of each wheat kernel is the germ, a tiny embryo containing oils, vitamins, and the genetic blueprint for a new plant. When flour is milled, the germ is often removed because its oils can turn rancid. But fresh, whole grain flour retains the germ, giving it a richer flavor. The germ is potential, the beginning waiting to unfold, compressed into a fragment smaller than sand. Flour dust is powerful. In mills and bakeries, fine flour particles suspended in the air can actually ignite if exposed to a spark. This is why industrial mills have strict safety protocols. Flour, so soft and harmless in your hand, becomes volatile when dispersed in the air. It is a reminder that even gentle things contain hidden energy, that transformation is always waiting, latent in the everyday. Sifting is a ritual. Before mechanical sifters, flour was passed through cloth or woven sieves by hand. The rhythmic motion, the soft hiss of flour falling through mesh, was a daily ritual in kitchens. Sifting aerates flour, making it lighter and easier to mix. It is an act of refinement, of taking what the mill gives and making it finer still. Even today, sifting feels ceremonial, intentional. Dough knows when it's ready. Experienced bakers can tell by touch when dough has been kneaded enough. It becomes smooth, elastic, and slightly tacky, but not sticky. Pressed with a finger, it springs back slowly. This is the window pane test. A small piece of dough stretched thin becomes translucent without tearing. The dough is alive, cohesive, ready to rise. It has transformed from a shaggy mass into something unified. The first rise is called proofing. After kneading, dough is set aside in a warm place to rest. This is proofing. The yeast ferments, producing gas that inflates the dough, doubling or tripling its size. Proofing takes patience. You cannot rush it. Covered with a cloth, resting in stillness, it transforms. When you return, it has swollen, pressing against the bowl, ready for the next step. Time is an ingredient. Punching down resets the yeast. After the first rise, the dough is gently deflated to release large gas bubbles and redistribute the yeast. This step is called punching down, though it's more of a firm press than a punch. The dough sighs, collapsing softly under your hands. It is reset, ready to rise again, this time more evenly. The process teaches restraint. What has risen must be humbled before it can rise again. Shaping determines the final form. The way dough is shaped affects the bread's texture. A round boule is rustic. A long baguette is elegant. Each shape requires different handling. Bakers learn to tuck and fold, creating surface tension that helps the loaf hold its form. Shaping is sculpture, your hands guiding dough into its final identity, deciding what it will become in the oven. The wedding loaf. In ancient Greece, bread was part of the marriage ceremony. At the wedding of Alexander the Great to Roxana in 327 BC, a loaf of bread was cut in two with a sword. The groom ate one half, and the bride ate the other. It was a simple, sacred ritual. Before the feast, before the wine, there was the sharing of the grain, symbolizing that they would sustain each other. Scoring controls the expansion. Just before baking, bakers slash the surface of the loaf with a sharp blade. These cuts, called scores, control where the dough expands in the oven. Without scoring, the loaf might crack unpredictably. With it, the bread blooms in controlled, beautiful patterns. Scoring is a signature. Some bakers cut simple lines, others create intricate designs. It is a final touch before transformation. Oven spring is the final breath. When dough enters a hot oven, it undergoes a rapid expansion called oven spring. The heat causes the yeast to work furiously one last time. The moisture in the dough turns to steam, inflating the loaf. In the first 10 minutes, bread can grow by a third. It is resurrection, the dough rising one last time before the heat sets the structure forever. Steam makes the crust crisp. Professional bakers inject steam into the oven during the first few minutes. The moisture keeps the surface of the dough flexible, allowing it to expand fully before hardening. As the steam clears, the crust dries and crisps, turning golden brown. Without steam, the crust sets too quickly, restricting the rise. It is a balance of moisture and dry heat. The Maillard reaction creates the color. As bread bakes, sugars on its surface react to heat, turning the crust brown. This is the Maillard reaction. It creates the deep, complex taste and aroma of baked bread, that irresistible scent that fills the kitchen. Without it, bread would be pale and bland. It is alchemy, heat transforming simple starch into rich flavor. The crust is a protective shell. The hard, golden exterior of a loaf serves a purpose beyond texture. It seals moisture inside, keeping the soft interior from drying out. The crust is where flavor concentrates, where sugars caramelize, where the bread meets the world. Some people prefer the crust for its chewiness, but the crust is essential, the boundary between inner and outer, between vulnerable and strong. Bread sings as it cools. When a loaf is removed from the oven, the crust contracts as it cools, creating tiny cracks. These fissures release pent-up steam and produce a soft crackling sound, like distant rain or a quiet fire. Bakers call this singing. It is the bread settling into itself, adjusting to the air. Listening to bread sing is one of the quiet pleasures of baking. The smell is universal comfort. Across cultures, the aroma of bread baking triggers the same response: warmth, safety, home. It is one of the most universally recognized smells, capable of evoking memory more powerfully than almost any other scent. It signals nourishment and care. It is the smell of someone making something for you, the smell of being safe indoors while the world continues outside. Ovens were once communal. In medieval villages, most households did not have their own ovens. Dough was prepared at home, then carried to a communal oven in the town center. Everyone's loaves baked together, marked with unique symbols to identify them. The oven was a gathering place, a hub of daily life. Baking was social, bread emerging from shared fire, shaped by individual hands, but baked in collective heat. Wood-fired ovens breathe heat. Traditional ovens heated by burning wood require hours to prepare. The wood is burned down to embers, then raked out. The heat retained in the stones bakes the bread. Temperature drops gradually, so bakers sequence their baking, first the crusty bread, then pastries, then slow-cooking stews. The oven is a living system, fed and tended, offering heat in exchange for patience. Rye is the bread of winter. Rye flour contains less gluten than wheat, resulting in a heavier, darker loaf. Rye bread has a distinctive sour, earthy flavor. It was the staple bread of Northern and Eastern Europe, where rye grows better than wheat in cold climates. Rye bread pairs with strong flavors: cured meats, pickles, cheese. It is the bread of endurance, of landscapes where wheat cannot thrive. Pumpernickel takes patience. True German pumpernickel is made from coarsely ground rye and baked at very low temperatures for up to 24 hours. This slow baking caramelizes the natural sugars, giving the bread its deep black color and sweet flavor. It is dense and moist. Pumpernickel cannot be rushed. It reveals its character only through time and gentle, prolonged heat. Sourdough protects itself. The natural acids in sourdough create an environment that inhibits mold. Sourdough bread stays fresh longer than commercial bread without any artificial preservatives. It is ancient technology, a way of preserving grain before refrigeration, relying on wild microbes to both leaven and protect the loaf. It is bread that takes care of itself through its own chemistry. Baguettes are ephemeral. French baguettes, with their thin crusts, are designed to be eaten within hours of baking. By the next day, they harden. This is intentional. The French buy bread daily, valuing freshness over longevity. A baguette is a bread of the moment, meant to be torn and eaten still warm, butter melting into its crumb, disappearing before the sun sets. The first sandwich. We often credit the Earl of Sandwich for inventing the sandwich in the 1700s, but the idea of using bread as a utensil is ancient. In the Middle Ages, people ate off thick slices of stale bread called trenchers, and the first recorded sandwich might actually be from the famous Rabbi Hillel in the 1st century BC, who placed lamb and herbs between pieces of matzah bread. Naan is baked on the wall. In South Asia, naan bread is slapped onto the interior walls of a tandoor, a cylindrical clay oven heated to extreme temperatures. The dough clings to the vertical hot surface, baking quickly and defying gravity. It develops characteristic charred bubbles. Naan emerges smoky and chewy. It is bread made in fire, shaped by hand and heat, a method unchanged for centuries. Focaccia is a canvas. Italian focaccia is a flatbread, dimpled with fingertips and drizzled with oil. The dimples create small pools where olive oil collects, crisping in the oven. It can be topped with herbs, tomatoes, or olives. It is simple but endlessly variable. The texture is soft and spongy. Focaccia is bread as pleasure, uncomplicated and generous, meant to be torn and shared by hand. Pretzels were little rewards. In the year 610 AD, a monk in northern Italy was baking unleavened bread for Lent. He decided to shape the leftover dough into strips, folding them to look like arms crossed in prayer. He gave them to children as a treat for learning their prayers. He called them pretiola, Latin for little rewards. This eventually became the German word Brezel or pretzel. The baker's dozen. We know a baker's dozen means 13. This tradition started in medieval England due to strict laws called the assize of bread. Bakers could be severely punished if their loaves were too light. To be safe and avoid a beating, bakers would throw in a 13th loaf for free just to ensure the total weight was legal. It was a bonus born from fear, which became a tradition of generosity. Pizza began as a plate. The word pizza was first documented in the year 997 AD in Italy, but for centuries it wasn't the pizza we know. It was simply a flatbread used as an edible plate for other foods. It wasn't until 1889 that a chef in Naples added tomato, mozzarella, and basil to honor Queen Margherita, creating the red, white, and green pizza margherita we know today. Breaking bread is a ritual. To break bread with someone is to share presents. The act of tearing a loaf and passing pieces around a table is inherently communal. You cannot break bread alone in the same way. It requires others. This ritual appears in religious ceremonies, family dinners, and peace negotiations. Bread, broken and shared, becomes a physical manifestation of togetherness. The open crumb. Artisan bakers pride themselves on achieving an open crumb, large, irregular air holes inside the loaf. This texture results from high water content and gentle handling. It indicates that the fermentation was perfect. The open crumb creates a light, airy bite. It is proof of the baker's skill, a signature written in air pockets and structure. Butter melts perfectly. There is a specific physics to why butter on warm bread is so satisfying. The heat softens the fat instantly, allowing it to seep into the crumb, coating each air pocket. The fat enhances flavor while the salt contrasts with the bread's mild sweetness. It is simple alchemy. Two ingredients becoming greater together, the bread a vehicle, the butter a complement. Bread is a tool. A piece of bread used to soak up the last bits of sauce or soup from a plate is not just practical, it is delicious. The bread absorbs flavor, becoming a final, satisfying bite. In Italian culture, this is called scarpetta, or little shoe. It is a way of honoring the food, wasting nothing, cleaning the plate, and satisfying the appetite simultaneously. Stale bread finds new life. Day-old bread is never wasted. It finds new life as breadcrumbs, croutons, bread pudding, or French toast. Stale bread absorbs liquid without falling apart, making it ideal for cooking. Thrifty cooks have always understood this. Stale bread is not garbage but opportunity, a chance for transformation. What has hardened can be softened again, made delicious through ingenuity. Sliced bread is new. For thousands of years, you had to slice your own bread. The bread slicing machine was only invented in 1928 by a man named Otto Roveda. It was advertised as the greatest forward step in the baking industry since bread was wrapped. From that slogan, we got the phrase, the best thing since sliced bread. Toast is bread refined. Slicing bread and exposing it to dry heat creates a new texture. Toasting drives out moisture and crisps the surface. The sugars caramelize again, turning golden and slightly bitter. Toast is bread concentrated. It is bread reborn, simpler and more direct. A daily alchemy performed in kitchens every morning, transforming yesterday's loaf into today's breakfast. Bread connects us to the earth. Every loaf begins in soil, sunlight, and water. Wheat roots dig into the ground, stalks rise toward the sky, seeds form, ripen, and are harvested. That grain is milled, mixed with water, and baked. Bread is a chain connecting earth to table, farmer to baker to eater. When you hold a slice of bread, you hold the earth itself, transformed and sustaining. Breadcrumbs mark the path. In fairy tales, breadcrumbs are left to find the way back home. The image endures, bread as navigation, as safety. Bread is never just bread. It is return, it is memory, it is the comfort of the familiar. To follow the scent of bread is to follow hope, to trust that nourishment will lead you back to where you belong. Bread is the taste of home. No matter where you come from, there is a bread that defines your childhood. Sourdough in San Francisco, rye in Germany, naan in India, tortillas in Mexico. That bread carries memory and identity. Its smell, texture, and taste are woven into who you are. Bread is not just sustenance, it is home, made edible, made shareable, made into the simplest and most profound comfort we know. And now the golden warmth begins to fade. We've drifted through 50 quiet truths. From the sunlit wheat field to the baker's hands, from the turning millstone to the singing crust. You are part of this story. The flour you've touched was once a seed. The yeast you've fed is alive. The bread you've eaten is sunlight, transformed by time and care. Tonight, as you rest, the work continues. Somewhere, dough is rising in the dark, ovens are heating, and bread, warm and golden, waits to sustain you tomorrow. If you're still awake, another journey awaits. I hope you sleep deeply and dream of warm kitchens. Good night.